There we go, sound.
And we'll call order the Groveport Madison Board of Education meeting. Could we do roll call?
Ms. Otterberg? Emmer?
Here.
Sherbert?
Here.
Walsh? And Mr.
Stand for the pledge of allegiance. To adoption of the meeting agenda. There was a little change, right?
Yeah, there's a new agenda that should have been your seats with the changes. I would like to make one additional change in that, I'm going to remove item G5 if we please.
Any other questions or concerns or changes? Roll call, please.
Need a first and second?
We want to delay. We're going to bring this back next month. Want to make sure it's been the PD committee and received all the appropriate review and approval for that before we the recommendation.
And I need a first and second.
First.
Okay.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I would like, sorry, I'm looking at it, to postpone. Where is it? I want catch rounds. I want to delete it and make full revisions or suggestions. So post to the next scene if possible until we have a chance to review.
Could you repeat what that is?
Item F.
This is the first September, like the immediate meeting after. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So I got a first by Shane, by Deanna.
And I have a second motion to move G9 until there's time to meet with GMLEA to finalize last MOU if possible.
G.
Could you repeat that, please?
Postpone G9 until we have time to meet with GMLEA to finalize the MOU.
Is-
MOU.
Appoint, that's a point solely in contracts, is that,
Yes, correct.
thank you.
The superintendent going on the superintendent's agenda?
Yes.
Do you want that?
Are we going to be complete? She said that they're medically fragile children and they can't start school without the medical assistance.
Okay.
And for those listening, that would have been our the director of special education. That did that.
So let's, we have a motion on the table right now for F1, right?
Correct. We have motion on the table to this one F1.
Let's go ahead and
Okay.
vote on that one first,
Okay.
please.
Ashley first, Deanna second.
And that is to postpone it to the first September meeting.
So next we're meeting September 1st.
Right.
Can I ask some more questions?
Yeah.
So if we don't, where are we at? Like
We're
where's that
just
put?
voting on F1 right now. And
I know
then-
I had more questions before I voted. So I said,
Okay, for
It's a
F1.
different one. This is for just the legal liaison.
okay, so not the G.
Not the contract.
All right, gotcha.
Just
Thank you.
clarification.
Okay.
This is just F1.
Yes.
All right.
Mrs. Delderberger,
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer,
Yes.
Ms. Herbert,
Aye.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Okay, so that was just F1.
Okay, now Ashley made a motion to remove G9. Is that correct? Sullivan contract. Do we have a first? Or she's the first. Do we have a second?
I'll second. I just still, I got questions though. So if we could get a little bit more detail, your motion to postpone was to ensure we had the MOU with GMLEA for this. Could we hear from both the superintendent and the director of special ed to understand where we are with that MOU?
Mandy, do you want to come up, please?
Is there a plan for what, like, just so we have that background? Thank you.
So the MOU, we have the draft that came back to us. And so in the email from Mrs. Rodich, we have until Friday to determine if we're going to use that or not. But because our kids start on Tuesday, if they don't have if the students don't have their one-on-one aides or actual physical nurses, they can't start school because they're not safe and we're not following their IEP for them to have meaningful participation.
How many students does this impact? Do you know off the top of your head, by chance?
That would be 3.
And what was your concern again with the, Ashley?
There is an MOU in discussion and we'd be possibly violating our contract with them. So there'd be a possible grievance. incurring
So
legal
can we
costs.
move it till after? Aren't we gonna be doing the MOU tonight?
Not that
This
MOU.
this MOU is not on the
Yeah,
agenda.
this,
So I was
this
going to
MOU is
postpone
not
it
on the
until
agenda.
MOU was able to be finalized.
So we in conversation. So you've gotten that part. Has legal been involved with this MOU process, Mr. Root?
Legals were currently reviewing the new language that we received to do that, but it just wasn't, we weren't able to put it on, finalize things to have it on the agenda tonight. So it's a situation where if this was earlier, we could have pulled the item, but we left the item on just because even without the MOU, we still feel like we have to service the kids and try to get resolution as quickly as possible.
So, what time Friday does it have to be back? Because it looks like we already have a records committee meeting scheduled at 10 a.m. on Friday. And if there was a way to still move forward and still meet the confines of getting the MOU reviewed and approved timely, is that an option to be ready by Friday? So that way we can start with both the MOU in place to meet the master agreement as well as service our children. Is
Mr.
that-
Holbert, do you know what time she put in that email? Or was it just Friday?
I think it was by the end of the day on Friday, but I can check.
I'm just trying to find a way to make sure we're, not by, doing anything for their staff, as well as ensure that those 3 kiddos get what they need. So,
I do want to say that the meeting Friday at this point is just a records commission
I
meeting.
know, I was just
Okay.
thinking we could
Yeah.
still add another meeting after that if we had to really quick to do that MOU. If everybody could come in, knock it out, that way we are meeting the confines of the GMLEA agreement as well as what's needed for our students. That was the reason why I was, when I saw that one. Thanks.
Jamie, they're supposed to respond to you by Friday. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have a counter proposal from them that we're reviewing and having legal review, so it's up to us to respond back.
Oh, okay. So, and you're hoping to have everything completed by Friday, but you're not sure what time.
Correct. I mean, to some degree, our delay is waiting to hear back response from legal.
Do they know the
further-
urgency?
I'm sorry.
Are they aware of the urgency? Like,
Yes, yes.
I don't know if we can let them know, like, if we could get something by Thursday so we can get this and knock this out Friday and we're in compliance on both sides, that'd be great.
The email from GMLEA says Friday at the end of business. Our attorney has the MOU and they're aware of the situation, but I can call tomorrow.
So, in what date does it have to be absolutely approved by?
in order for the kids to start school on the 11th, I have to be able to notify the contract company that provides those nurses that are our nurses cover. I have to let them know on Monday if those people are reporting to work on Tuesday.
And will be the latest that we need for staffing reasons. We probably have to let them know by Friday in order for them to have somebody ready by Tuesday.
Well, the actual contract is already ready, and they already have people assigned to them. They're just waiting on myself or out of my office. Yes, they can come to work on Tuesday.
So it's not like, so if it's postponed today and do everything Friday, is that still give us enough to me getting the person here, those one-on-ones for those kiddos get what they need?
Yes, if it gets done Friday. If not, then we will be starting the year out.
So today, you commit to coming in on Monday. That's enough. If there's your board members can commit to a 5-minute meeting on a Monday or 10-minute meeting.
It's so like we have to do Friday.
Yeah,
Is that,
Friday.
I put
No,
that's what
It's
I
Friday
understood.
because they have to make sure that they have all of their
staff.
done over us. They can Tuesday.
So we have to, so then it's wait to get legal counsel and do where we at process the do the MO. Is there another opportunity for counselor, or is that at that process?
Well, until you final agreement, always with that, but I don't think we want to talk about negotiation publicly.
I don't didn't know if like we were anytime back and forth. We have an idea if not to
Yeah,
say
no,
we
no,
need to go
I
through
somewhat in cheek. Yeah.
yes.
Right.
I just make sure we're meeting our agreement with our union, our teachers, as well as getting need for our staff, our students.
Is it one from the board to commit to short round Friday?
I can.
Yeah, I can do that.
Just
It's gonna be said end of day Friday, so it should be like 6 o'clock. Something like that.
I mean, we can get it done by Thursday. I'd do it right after the rec meeting, and the same time it will be done.
Do you guys commit to 30-minute done by late morning?
We'll do our very best.
At this point,
Not
I
a
have to do.
commitment though, everyone. So end of day is like 6 o'clock, right? There's already a commitment to end of day.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm just seeing when they go to legal talk about the urgency to try to get it done. That way, Friday morning, they're able to reach out to the contract when everything's done because everything is solidified with both parties. That's if we can.
Time would you prefer, Amy?
I think doing it after the Records Commission meeting on Friday, we will know, I think, for that, whether there's resolution or not. So
All right. So make it for 10:30.
10:30. And we'll have to get the special notice
So yeah,
out
we have to
tomorrow
put
by
notice tomorrow by 10:30.
If we can.
I don't know if you can disclose or stepping over, just tell me if I am. What are we trying to iron out? What's we looking at that we want to figure out for Friday? Or is that something we shouldn't discuss?
I don't think that's something we can discuss publicly.
Okay, thank you.
So actually, your motion is to postpone until Friday at 10:30.
It was to postpone until we had time to finalize the MOU with GMLEA. So whatever time that would be,
no date.
but no
Just-
date.
So she's just postponing G9 so we get the MOU with GMLA finalized. So that could be Friday. Yep. Could be.
So the reason I was specifying postpone till a specific time is because that's when we're going to be setting up a special meeting, right? And committing to it.
But I think what she's saying is, there's a possibility that it's not. So we're planning ahead with if it's possibly done that we have that meeting on the calendar. And if it's not, then it's not, and we won't have the meeting. That's what I'm gathering. So I think the language, I'm good with the language that you have until the MOU is ready to align with that contract. So we're in compliance with the agreement. For me.
Is it, if it's okay, is it safe to ask if the union feels that Friday may be reasonable?
We're always ready to discuss. We thought we were still discussing to reach a solution.
Okay.
We're ready, willing, and able.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ashley's motion is to postpone until.
If I can add a comment, if we're gonna vote to postpone G9, G10 also. It's the same thing as related services.
So can you amend your motion, Ashley, to D9 and G10? Well, D9 is for till the MOU.
It would be both. The MOU and question is the both contracts, both essentially the same thing. They're outsourcing.
G10.
When I typed in was to postpone G9 and G until we get the MOU with GLA finalist
Yes, and I will amend my motion.
to that. Okay. And I got a first and a second, by the way. Right, good. Is that over?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Ms. Walsh?
Aye.
And Mr.
Aye.
Any other changes to the agenda or Jim?
Yes. Want to move into postpone item F4 until the next board meeting so the agenda can be corrected, clarified whether the proposed action is for the appointment of committee member or appointment of committee chair. And so the unresolved concerns regarding operation of policy committee can be addressed.
Second.
Said postpone to the next regular board meeting.
Yeah.
And that was F4.
It's until the next board, you mean the September meeting? Okay.
Okay. And that was first by Deanna, second by the way.
Yes, and so you'll, with this being posted, you mentioned something in your motion about addressing, can you repeat that one time for me?
Yes. So that unresolved concerns regarding the operation of the policy committee can be addressed. We had a member step away from the committee, haven't resolved what caused that. And so appointing someone to the committee doesn't fix what possibly be addressed prior to forward.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
It's not coming out very good, so can you just, I'm sorry to make you do it again. Okay. Fort Worth is part of that, right?
I move to postpone consideration of item F4 until next regular board meeting so that agenda can be corrected to clarify rather proposed action is the appointment of a committee member or the appointment of a committee chair. And so the unresolved concerns regarding the operation of the policy committee can be addressed.
Okay. Postpone until next meeting and clarify. Can
I got a first by Deanna, second by Latoya.
So, yeah. We on the floor before we vote.
if you have questions.
Yeah, can we go ahead and clarify that? Because I think that I heard Ashley resign as chair, but I'm not sure if I'm as confused as Deanna. So it was a resign of chair or resign from the position?
And that's what the motion is for, was to further clarify that. So it's appropriately articulated on the agenda if it was the committee and chair or just the chair position. That's what her motion is, for to be postponed till September. So
But we're not going to know when we get here in September if the question's not answered now. I'm asking the question so we know for September. I don't know what happened because I heard reading this chair, so I'm just asking for that clarification. So when we come back in September, and Ashley, were you resigning from the entire committee or just from the chair?
I was stepping down from the chair.
Oh, okay. Sure.
All right.
Thank you. That's what I thought. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so we have a first by
What is
Deanna.
the, I want to, one other thing is the actual board time within the entire committee. I just want to step down. And then I think there was something else on there that you said something about clarity for the entire committee or something. What happened? Hold on, I gotta scroll back. Resolve concerns regarding the operation of the policy to be addressed. That's a whole separate issue than what this is. So you want to have that on the next, that be another item on the agenda? Because that's not part of this, number 4.
Well, it is, but we can separate it and add it to the next agenda. But moving forward without understanding what occurred with Nick's board.
The actual motion, the board recommends the Groveport Madison School Board of Education chair to the policy committee. So there's
Right,
two different
right.
things there. Up here says a new member, this down here says a chair, so I think it was like a little, but we'll put that on the
Yeah,
next
that
member.
was the motion.
The motion is for a chair, not for a new member, but we will definitely move it to the next agenda item, get all that straightened out for the September meeting. No? Okay.
So just for clarity, what Ms. Herbert was asking, was mentioning in the postponement, yes, corrected clarification on stepping down as chair or committee, that was addressed. But the other part, in order for us to vote or discuss with this appointment, wanting to understand the reason for the step down.
Okay.
So it's not, so it is a part of this, why do we need to appoint a new chair? What are the reasons? Have they been mitigated? What are the reasons why someone is stepping down as chair? That is her.
My point was I just assumed that would have been, that was happening, not during the appointment, but we certainly can. So the motion is to table or postpone F4 to the next meeting.
Next regular meeting.
And who is first and second?
Deanna first, let's wait a second. Mrs. Duttenberger,
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert,
I
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Any other changes?
All right, so I'm going back to the original motion to approve the agenda now. Of those 3 other motions, I had it by Deanna and second by Ashley. Mrs. Duttenberger.
Aye.
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 And Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
We have public participation. Is that correct, Ty? Remember to everybody that the board encourages all the public to come and participate in our meetings, and we like to hear from everybody. So on to C, approval of the minutes.
Yes, approve the minute meetings of, motion. The treasurer recommends Madison Board of Education approve the minutes for the following meeting. March 18th, April 7th, April 4th, April 27th, number 1, April 20th, session number 2, May 5th, May 12th, June 2nd, June 16th, June 30th, July 14th, July 22nd. First.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns about the minutes? So my standard concern is that the way they're, and I know that's being changed, so I appreciate that.
And the last one, the July 22nd was changed.
I would not, yeah.
So, yeah. All right.
So
Sit
any
down.
other questions, concerns?
With the change being made, everyone consulted on the change, or what is the
Yeah,
change?
the last one, it's the summary.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So we're not going,
It's not bulleted.
so then what if we, okay.
Ms. Duttenberger,
Aye.
Mrs. Zip,
Aye.
Ms. Brooke,
I
No.
and Mr.
No.
To the consent agenda.
General events of Madison School Board of Education approve the consent of items as outlined in D1 through D3.
So moved.
Second.
Yeah.
And just so everyone knows, different certified personnel, right? Jamie, you added it.
I'm sorry.
You added on our board packet, there was a.
There's an
certified-
updated certified list. We've been hiring people as recently as over the week.
And the classified list stayed the same, correct?
That's correct.
So the closed caption cut out, but I believe I heard you say consent agenda is simply D1, 2, and 3.
Yes, that's correct.
I just have a weird question. I apologize if it is. All of the additionally are pretty for sure know like that it's everything to be determined before.
Can you come please?
Yes, at this time we have 8 pairs in different positions. So we offer them a position and they have to have a background check and they have to pass the paraprofessional to get the license and then the board approval. So right now we have different people in different stages. That's why we have to wait to see if they get approved and they get their background check completed and if they pass the test, then they can be hired. That's why they're just in different stages right now. So we had probably about 18 spots open in the last 2 weeks. We were able to fill them, but it's been kind of a mad rush here at the end.
And they won't start until they get the background check everything done.
Correct.
So classified positions, it has a salary, but they're hourly.
Correct.
So why is that not listed on here?
If you're correctly, it is their salary on here, but well, we had this discussion with the attorney and he said it has to be hourly to get overtime. So that's why the contract say hourly, but they're still the employee.
So should we have both on contract? On the-
Yeah. Yes. When you and Elaine at my office, something is going to go on the fall, and next year we fix that. So remember, we said front line take some time. Remember when Elaine met, and you said, okay, this year we'll get through this year, we'll adjust it over the fall. But next year we're going to try to have salary and hourly on the contract.
I think you're going to start that like this
No,
year.
no, it takes you're too late. Front line takes a while to get done. So right. But remember, other salary is their total cost. And so before it was hourly, but no hours needed no total cost. So then the board researched the salary, so we knew what the total cost was. And then our attorney reached out to us. And yes, the hourly has got in there because they can get overtime.
Yeah, have an email out there too. You can tell us that by design because they said one thing which is different than what is the be free. So it's given 2 separate answers. He's given 2 separate answers to 2 emails. So we can, and I
Well-
emailed him again today. Just to say, hey, tell me that so I can contact.
Right. But remember, the contract on the board agenda is salary, so
Right.
the match. And like the attorney signing the contract is the you guys board the contract. That's it. The sign the contracts, which is very important. You sign them. The president is if these employees want to get a house or anything, they need a copy of their signed contract. It is just a piece of paper once the board approved legally. And that's what they also wrote in the email. But it's to the employee. that you as sign these as quickly as you can. So if you got, if they want a car or house, it says salary on the contract, also says salary on here. So those match. It only says hourly in the paragraph, but again, they got an email back to me and you, Lane, saying that it has to stay out because they can get overtime, and that's the whole part of it.
Point of order. Nate, do you have closed captioning where you can get this thing? There'll be paragraphs and it'll spit out words. I mean, it's back and changing, and it's just completely off the hook. It's be worthless right now. Change the thing I said to employ me off, if that gives you an example.
Even though we're in a middle motion, can I make a motion to go to a recess so we can address this? The closed captioning, is that all right?
What he's trying to
I
understand.
can't do anything with it.
Oh,
Closed captioning is what this closed captioning is. We have members speaking very quietly and not articulating to the microphone, and that is having an impact. And this caption is picking up everything I said very clearly right now.
About now. Now,
Yeah, see, that said by now. So no, that.
what about now? No?
To count what you just said, Nate, okay. She said bye now, then you said bye now again. Then you spoke, then it erased everything you said and went back to her. So no matter how you're articulating, this thing is just going back and changing things or skipping people. And I'm speaking plainly. I know that our treasurer was speaking very plainly, and at times it's interpreted well, and then it would just wipe out what he said and go back 2 sentences or completely change the meaning. So it is really, I don't know what's going on. And I know you can't fix it, but we should by now have some alternatives that we're trying besides this Google Translate or whatever it is, because it's not working.
So, John, do you know where we're at with what my concerns were with the certified personnel and what his response was? Do you have a good understanding of that?
Not
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, has been discussed before in prior board meetings, and it's the same thing we previously discussed. So I think at this point, it's a moot point. If you would like, he can probably forward you the email they're referencing, but I don't think they could continue the discussion at this point.
So are you saying John not being able to follow the meeting is a mute, or the certified classified consent agenda discussion is mute?
The discussion on an item we've already previously discussed.
I am fine if we don't go back over the issue. I just need it understood that despite articulation and plain speaking, that the closed captioning we have right now is not functioning correctly. That's all.
Okay, so is there
Before
any,
you go, can we share moving forward, we have the payments listed on this? Because I did look at a few other meetings, and we, not that I can find, we're happy to be determined.
Here they were on there, the assignment.
so
The rest are all listed on there as
So-
well as.
Every classified listing, it had where the building, where the was going. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I talked about that with Payne today. So yeah, we can do that.
Thank you.
so in Adam content was that you can't have the hourly range because then they can't make overtime? Is that what you were saying?
No.
No.
The attorneys,
Okay.
because remember, to be clear, what you're paying has is salary, but on the contract is the salary. So it's two tied together. What your question is hourly wording contract. Right? Remember?
Well,
So the,
what I read in as hourly, and that's the contract. The contract has a salary on it and stuff, but then the bottom says we're not paying you salary, we're paying you hourly. there's no hourly rate or program for 26,000, say the one, just not picking on this person, 26,558. We're approving an individual for making this for the year, not approving his hourly rate, pay, even though step one is definitely an hourly rate, and we have that. I think it would be clear if we just had that on there. I know the story at one point, the board said, hey, we really would like to see what staff, how much they're going to make here. But we should be, I mean, it's not necessarily going to make it. He might, whoever, it might even be she or no, but they end up missing 10 days, right? And not making that much, making less. Or,
Yeah, but that
see,
applies.
that's what I'm saying. It's just, it seems inconsistent.
Right.
with what we're approving, not necessarily consistent with what's actually happening. That's all. Or what I'm being asked to sign. And I did check out to students and a yes, I can sign this contract, or a no, I don't know what he's wrote about. Go back and this, no that. Yes or no? Let me know, because I'm not signing something and then I have not followed what the board approved. So
Well, what I'll
that's
do
my
is
concern.
I'll ask for send all the email thread between you and Dane ask tomorrow morning to the board so they can see that.
Yeah.
Right. And then so you I mean that about this. You were maybe going to come in and do
yes, I'm
the
gonna
wet
come in
signatures
and
instead
sign
of
them. I'm still waiting to hear from him then.
right. But on the signatures though, that's fine. But we're going to print all those out. You have to come in and sign them, and then you charge them off this and all those back in.
Well,
so it's just a lot. It's a lot of work. If you
Have
want to do that, that's
have
fine.
other board presidents sign physically? No.
They're all
Well,
now.
see, here,
Admin contracts, but all the T contract, you guys like signature.
We signed everything we signed to ensure it was
are
not
not
a
a DocuSign.
time waster for our staff, be more efficient. That's what we did.
See,
So-
and I would not have a problem with that except for this one thing. So we have this problem where the contracts don't say what we're being approved here in this meeting tonight. And
Just ask if we changed anything with the contract.
You're interrupting.
Or
Please, you're
Yeah.
interrupting. So then you have a frontline contract and a frontline program we use. It's great, and I've used it, and I've signed many contracts on it already. These came up, and there was a problem with them, so I waited. And there's probably about, just so everybody knows, maybe 7,500 of those, maybe 750. There was a lot.
Morning.
So the email that I'm getting sent is individual contracts, not just here, go to Frontline and sign contracts, because Frontline has them all on there. It could be just one email saying you got some Frontline contracts, right? So instead they're individual. Then because we're waiting for hear back from Dane, they got resent probably 3 times. I've gotten them 3 separate times, and it's just overwhelming my email, and it's a problem. So
If it is
It's a
too
part of
much
the job.
for you, you can certainly step as the president and we could appoint someone else.
I'm not saying I have a problem
just
doing my
saying
job,
it's
but I
easily
want to
resolved.
make sure, that I'm following the contract that the board is approving, right?
Right, and Kathy, we got all the emails for DocuSign, but I'm able to pull the contract up, align it with what we approved in that meeting agenda, and it's exactly what he's saying. The salaries and pieces does align, so it is there. But that's your preference, but we have not in this past had that have an issue, or we've not come in and made staff print them out and scan them in, especially when we're limited on staff. If we do one other things.
Yeah, I can do it on the DocuSign. I've been doing it on not DocuSign. That's different contracts come on DocuSign. I've been doing Frontline. I've done hundreds of them on Frontline. But I'm saying we need to be mindful.
Can you speak in the mic so the closed captioning picks up clearly, please?
We need to be mindful that the contract says the board is approving. And Dane had actually said in the first email that you need to either change this on the contract or change this on the contract. That was the attorney. Then he sent another one. It said something else on the contract. Yeah, let's do this. And so I sent him an email. I said, just give me a yes now. How about that? Yes, go ahead and sign the contract. You won't be violating anything. You'll be following what the board has approved. That's all I'm asking our attorney to do. So we're just waiting for that. Is there any other questions about the certified personnel or classified or other consent agenda, which is the educational service?
So I have a question for the staff then, when if we make those changes, how long is that gonna take in order for us to get everything ready for the school? How's it impact workload if we have to make this change?
It's just gonna take
Oh,
time.
they're already, he already said they're fine. It didn't matter if they signed those contracts. Is that what you're talking about?
No, it's just the fact that it's not how take a lane to print them all out and then scan them all back in. That's what I think you're asking about. It's just gonna take time.
That's the route we're going. I was just trying to figure out how that's gonna impact the school.
We
and get everybody
we
on
can work
board.
through that. Adam, I talked at the last meeting about working through
He
that.
just said it was gonna take a lot of time. And they're
Would
not.
you like to come up and share your perspective?
If they need me to do the front line, that's great. I'm asking that, send one notice
Well-
for the front line and then get all the contracts for there. I mean, it definitely comes up one. Could you open up front? They're all right there.
So
Correct.
what I can do is I can see if we can send a bulk email to you
That would
where
be-
you can go in. I can't make any promises if that can be done,
That would
but
be
I will
great.
do my best to see if that can be done where you get a bulk email. Otherwise, my department will have to print out all the contracts.
Well, I don't want them to have to do that.
Okay.
We will not be requiring them to print out and do that if that's going to be a problem. But
Okay.
yes, if you can work on that, that would be great.
Thank you.
So I appreciate you coming up and
No
addressing that. The educational service center, does anybody have anything on that?
It's annual.
That, Jamie, that's our standard contract that we do every single year.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And we're good on every, that from last, like we're, everything's, thank you.
We good? Is that a?
Aye.
Mrs. Zimmer?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. Walsh?
Aye.
And Ms.
Now we're on item F, Board of New Business. Down to 2, review policy DJ8. I make a motion to recommend the Board of Education approve the attached board policy DJH.
So
Second.
Is there any background in the policy or were this feedback? on it?
It's just recommended by OSBA. They recommended. And it did go to the policy committee and Adams on it and went through.
I think
The full-
that's why I was making sure we put it there for full transparency for our constituents. Thank you, ma'am.
Are there any questions or concerns about policy?
Mrs. Utterberger?
Uh,
Ms. Zimmer? Ms. Herbert? Ms. Walsh?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner?
I,
Or on to the next item, of the board, let's discuss of the board education meeting in December. So one board member has asked that we cancel it and move it to a different time.
I am having surgery on September 2nd, and I am stuck in for and cannot leave.
One more time, December. I'm sorry.
I'm having surgery on September 2nd. I have to stay in my house for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So you're saying just to cancel the one? Are we trying to add another one? What's the, just cancel September?
The 8th.
Okay. Sure, and keep the.
Or right now we have the 1st and the 8th.
So yeah, this one. So the first is good. We just will get rid of the 8th. Okay. Thanks. Plus it's coming off for Labor Day weekend too.
True.
Do you have a motion to, or just discussion?
I'll make a motion to cancel the second board meeting in September.
So
Jake, I can call the prof.
Not that I know of. No.
Adam, you're good too. Thank you.
That's first by Ashley and second by Latoya.
And that would be the September 8th meeting, be the one that's canceled.
Correct.
Okay.
First Ashley, second Latoya. First, second Latoya.
Anyone else have any questions or concerns? Yep. Go ahead, Adam.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Mrs. Delderberg,
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer,
Aye.
Ms. Herbert,
Aye.
Ms. Walsh,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
On to item, it's been postponed, so we're down to 5. Student representative for school board. And this is a discussion item that Vice President Herbert has to be added.
So I had a student reach out who is one of our modern students with interest in becoming a student representative for the board, for the student body at the board. They wouldn't vote in authority, but we were able to hear their thoughts and opinions from a student in a few. Fully support having that type of engagement because they are at school daily and would know more from a student's perspective and we're making decisions on behalf. However, meetings would have to be short and respect and professionalism would have to be in place.
So when I first got on the board, we used to have student council come, the president and the vice president. Sometimes it was only one or the other, typically both of them, and they would come and do a report to the Board of Education. And I think that might accomplish that goal. Love to see them come back. The beginning of, once they get elected to their office, I can reach out to them and ask them if they would be interested in coming and serving that again to the representative for the school students at the high school. And I'm not sure if we have so in middle schools.
I'm pretty confident we do. I'm yes, so we have school student council.
Yes. Matt wrote or something. I think that would be a good idea. What do you think about that?
Then did like I would have the student council piece very voice. I think the one thing we've tried to do as a previously was to provide opportunity also. And so was it the most popular or the ones the straight student, you're the one we reach out, get the one we come front, comes through the voice. We in the past of that she reached out. She also reached out to me about some other things. I think it'll be a great opportunity and maybe even getting someone from our student voice committee that we need to get moving on. It'd be a great opportunity to do it through that lens because that is our committee. The student council still presenting. I think they still do that anyway. That's a staple. But I think what Ms. Herbert is speaking of is actually having someone, literally having a chair out here with a nameplate to have input and discussion when we bring up things that deal with the educational piece. Is that what I was getting from you, Ms. Herbert?
That's correct. If you look at our neighboring school districts, Pickerington and Canal are doing it currently. They've sent out advertisement and communications soliciting applications from students. I think it would be a great life lesson to allow one of our students to sit up here with us, learn about governance, learn about contracting, just all the things, and learning to be their own advocate would be amazing.
I agree.
So was that the purpose of the student voice committee for the high school? That's pretty much what they were supposed to be doing too. So we want to have another, not one from the student voice, but another. So are we going to do like
No,
people
this would
put in
be
applications for it, and then when we decide which one is the best fit, how does that work?
Well, it wasn't an either or. The parent voice committee, the student voice committee, that is committees that are established. This is about adding a student representative to the board. They do not go into executive session. They do not have a vote, but they do have a voice.
I think it's a really interesting concept. Yeah. Can you get more information on that from Pickerington and Canal to share with the board?
I actually can just get it from OSBA. They are actively encouraging districts to do this.
Okay, I'm gonna look at that up.
It'd be great if we can also have this on our
Hold on.
next board meeting.
Yeah.
So we can make sure we can get moving sooner than later, so we don't go a whole nother year without having student voices heard.
I think the idea is great. I would fully support it, but I do not think our current board is a good example. And we would be teaching our students how to not act versus how they should be acting. So unless we have a complete change in how we act and respect one another, I do not think it would be a good time for that personally.
I don't disagree with you. That's why I stated about the professionalism would have to be in place and the length of meeting times would have to be adjusted, because there are some things that we need to work on internally.
So Toy, you asked that it be on the next meeting agenda, maybe have some more information, or
I'm good on the information. It's available on OSBA, and if you go and reach out and attend the things, I was already following, so I'm good. I just didn't know if we needed to vote on that.
I think she was trying to say if we wanted to move forward,
Correct.
like
Thank you.
the application, the next steps to take to possibly have it finalized before the next school year, if I understood correctly.
That is correct, Ms. Emmer. Thank you.
so yes, you would like it on the next agenda for more discussion, or
I think
wanna
that's
wait
for us to
until a little bit
decide
later
now
in
if
the
that's what we want to move forward with. But I think I concur with Ms. Emmer, Ms. Herbert, that we do have some internal things we need to work through, but I just didn't know. I didn't want it to be brought up here. We didn't have next steps. So I don't know, with that being out there, do we have a commitment amongst ourselves to ensure that we are professional, non-biased, things like that, inclusive, and where we can work on those things? Or, do we wait a little bit of time and work on those student voice and parent voice committees first, and then maybe do that later on, maybe after Christmas break, and see how we do? I don't know. I'm just having conversations, so as we prepare for next steps based off of the concerns, that we can make those decisions.
is there any other discussion for this item?
I would just say we have hanging out there for a long time now the idea of a board goal setting meeting that might help us work through things, find common ground, etc. And that's been just lingering now. That might be a great first step.
I think work boards are important, but I think what Ms. Zimmer and Ms. Herbert were speaking about was just common decency. And a board goals worksheet will not accomplish that.
Certainly.
All right, anything else? We'll move on to the next item. Discussion of board policy KBC-AR. Ms. Herbert asked that that be added to the agenda. So I'll let her take over on that one.
Okay. So I understand that KBCAR identifies the board president as the official spokesperson, and I understand that the SRO contract automatically renewed. There was a news press conference held, and there were some statements made. And so I guess I want to better understand how the spokesperson role is intended to operate. Does holding the title of board president allow someone to speak and act independently on behalf of the board, or is the role limited to communicating established board decisions?
I was not aware that there, oh, I'm sorry, thought you were done. Go
No,
ahead.
not yet.
Apologize.
So my goal is not to criticize. I would simply like to get clarity on what occurred and whether or not participating members were authorized to speak for the board, and what expectations will apply to all members moving forward.
So I wasn't aware that we had a press conference from the Board of Education or for the district.
So there was a news channel outside of the high school, and they interviewed you and John, and they used your title, board president. So I was just trying to get clarification on the policy itself.
Well, one, I did not do an interview outside on the district property at the high school. That never happened.
A park, like, I don't
No.
know where you were.
No, I did interview with a news person in a park.
Okay.
Not
What,
not at the
John,
high
John
school.
was at the school,
Not,
you were
not
at the
on
park.
school district property, and was asking questions. I specifically told the that I was speaking as an individual, not as a board president. So
They used your
but
title.
I am allowed to. I have free speech, and I am if there's an issue and they come and say, "Hey, what is your opinion on this issue?" But that's a news story. That's on a news conference, and
So-
this is addressing news releases. A
Okay.
news conference.
And
With that, then I think there would be then a duty or a responsibility, knowing that your title of president was used if you were going to be in there in your individual capacity, to reach out to that news channel to get that mitigated, because it then did appear, Ms. Walsh, that you were speaking on behalf of the board and not in your individual capacity in which you are claiming. So I don't know if you sent something. If so, that'd have been great to share with your colleagues as a kind gesture. Hey, I was working independently. I noticed they used my official title. I've sent something to the news station to get that corrected. I don't know if that was done, but if it was, it'd be great for us to know. Thank you.
Honestly, I didn't listen to it on the news after it was done, but I did specifically tell them I am speaking not as a board president, as a individual. And this is my personal opinion, not my opinion as board president, definitely. And that was said, and I'm sure they have that on camera because the camera was rolling when they did it.
They actually did, and you can go on their YouTube and look at the video as I did, just to confirm that I was stating what actually was aired. And I would probably follow up to make sure they make that correction, and I would never stifle your freedom of speech.
I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. I will certainly reach out to them. Yeah.
Just my point of view as an individual board member, this is not the full board. I am an elected official. If I go and speak with a news member, They're going to use my title as Groveport Madison School Board Board of Education member. Therefore, it's going to be portrayed I'm speaking on behalf of the district. Whether or not I intend to do that or not does not matter. So we sometimes need to realize, even though we may state we are speaking out of our own personal context, they do not actually portray that. Therefore, our community, our families are going to think you are giving a statement on behalf of the district. Whether or not it was intentional or unintentional, we just might want to be mindful of that moving forward.
And if we're in those situations, give a common courtesy to the rest of the board so we know and not be shocked or ask, hey, is this your viewpoint as well? Because that did happen as well. Yeah, or the admin for that matter, because I don't know if they've reached out to as well on the same topic.
Thank you for those comments, and I will consider those all. Is anybody else got any comments on the issue?
No, but if you want
CBCA, KECAR.
Yep. So, and then the title on YouTube is Groveport Madison School Board delays decision on school resource officer, and it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. On to G, superintendent's agenda. Jamie, you take over.
All right. Superintendent recommends that the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the attached MOU with GMLEA, and this was about our RESA program final mentoring MOU.
So moved.
Second.
This is a similar MOU we brought before. We had some cleanup with some dates and clarifications and times. I don't think there was any significant substantive change. So it's just the new version of the MOU for our RESA program and what our mentors, and I'm drawing a blank on the other person's name. Well, the resident educator, but there's also, in addition to the mentor, I think there's another person. But guys, it's just an update of what we've approved previous years.
Mrs. Duttleberger.
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
Ms. Herbert.
Aye.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Abstain.
With that, can you share your reasoning for abstaining? We've talked about this when we're abstaining from votes, and I think one of our constituents had asked at our previous meeting to share when we abstain from a vote, why.
Yeah, I couldn't make out what all was being said. Thank you.
Well, we can repeat that in order for you to make a vote, but that normally you abstain for ethical reasons and things of that nature, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. I was just trying not to hold up the meeting, and I was not caught up with where we were. So if you want to go back to it, that's fine.
The superintendent recommends the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the attached MOU with GMLEA as outlined in the attachment for an additional professional development day on September 18th, 2026.
So move.
Second.
Okay. We have many things going on this year. We have our PLC Summit that we will have tomorrow, and the next day we have had our new teachers in for a couple days. At the last meeting, we approved Aubrey. We have several training things we need to do. So we have mandatory ODU compliance training. We've basically worked out an all-day professional development day and worked with GMLEA on this, including a PLC recap and operate, math and dibbles and boost K-12, OST and DOK, working with RIMS. And so we have so many new things going on. There was no way to squeeze everything in. So we're asking to have additional professional development day on September 18th.
I think it's a good call out to catch it early and make that call. So thank you guys for working together to get that addressed so that our teachers are supported. As a parent, I thank you guys.
Does anyone else have any questions about the MOU for professional development?
We're good. Mrs. Dettelberger.
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert.
Aye.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
The superintendent recommends Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the MOU with GMLEA. This is the MOU about middle school class size. It's a renewal.
So moved.
Second.
Can you go into any other detail with that?
This is just a new version, a renewal. I think the only thing that was removed from this was a reference to 7th grade that I think we had determined wasn't needed to be in there. So this is just a renewal, previous MOU.
Do you have any questions? Please.
Ms. Weber.
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Ms. Walsh. And Mr. Kirschner.
Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approved the quote from REM exterior cameras. Districts are being used. Is
So moved.
grant it came about after there was a bus accident where a student from Springfield was thrown from a bus. Governor DeWine set up safety grants for about $10 million. We applied for this. We actually applied and asked for some additional money to do cameras, lit signage, and there's a third item. We were approved at 162,000. Community bus service is also going to provide $150,000. If we get this approved tonight, these cameras on the arm that swings out. So all of our buses inside have 3 or 4 cameras inside. This is an exterior camera that's by the swing stop arm that's got a camera facing forward and a camera facing back. It's a significant safety improvement. Matter of fact, I think members of the board have asked about this very thing before. So we're excited to be able to have this happen and do it without district funds.
Yeah, I was looking at the document. You also sent some email this evening right before the board meeting, and we're like one of the, if not the top, one of the, like, I think second to Dayton with the amount that we were given. So good job. Good job. Great job.
I'd like to take credit. That was Teresa Ritchie.
Shout out to Miss Teresa.
I love what we're doing here, and I think it's great that we're adding safety to the buses. The issue I have with this is the procurement process under the ORC. In order for us to say that we're going to use REM as a single source, we're also saying that this equipment is not available from any other providers, that they can't tie into the system. And that's an even higher threshold than, as I understand it, than an urgent necessity. So we have to say, and what we're saying here is that this commercial mobility service surveillance system that is industry standard technology can't be provided by any of the competitors, and that causes me pause. The commercial mobile for surveillance systems use analog high def IP ONBIF networks, and it's very common for the competing systems to fold in the existing cameras and wirings to pin them out, use adapters, breakout harnesses, etc. Also, I'm concerned that there's approximately $20,000 in additional tariff costs beyond the vendor quotation and the lack of legally enforceable written agreement requiring community bus to pay any costs above the grant award. So this reminds me of an AstroTurf deal we had that wasn't going to cost the district anything. So I'm just giving my perspective. Before approving the purchase, we should require supporting document that shows that there's sole demonstrating why REM is the only qualified source. Performance-based specifications should be provided to competing all qualified vendors so they could submit client proposals, and also should documentation justify tariff costs, and legally enforcement a full agreement identifying who's responsible for every dollar of the grant award. So if we're going to have before we do this, we should be actually making a resolution to approve sole exception on 3.1.46. We can simply just vote to adopt the proposal without first, as a board, saying we as a board recognize that this is a sole purchase. Like we would have to board that it was an urgent necessity. I'm not stepping up against anything with safety systems or the cameras. I think we have ODE grant. Is that in general they're enough to provide the systems? I'm not sure that they're not. One of the challenges you have in sole purchase is, hey, no competition. I can be just about any place I want. So that's my concerns with this bus purchase, is that I do not believe, and this is new for me, I do not believe that there's anything proprietary about the wire or the camera systems or the DR that the competitors could not come in and have the same process, and that we could actually know that we are a bit stable, and I believe we are bound to bid this project out, and that's also, I believe, in an OEW grant, that's we will obey all applicable laws. So those are my concerns. Thank you.
Do you want to respond to that before there's any other questions? Okay.
I don't know that I have the answer to that. I wasn't asked this question ahead of time to have a chance to look into that and ask the question. I assumed that this was a single source because of the other cameras we already have in the bus, but I can't say that factually.
And if we could, as a board, so when we're like this school starts next week, so it would have been great if that was something when you of a concern to get this to our admin team prior to the board meeting, so we can have this as a discussion topic when this item comes up on the agenda.
Are you saying this should have been provided earlier?
I'm saying if the concerns, yes, if we always, I mean, when we have questions, I know that some of us do, we reach out to Jamie and Adam all the time, ask questions, give them our thoughts. So when they come to the board meeting, we can have this discussion. They can already, we have answers that we can present to the public, ask those questions in front of the public on record. And then that way there is an answer versus now we're at a hard pause at this point to make sure, your concerns are addressed, Mr. Kirshner. I don't think your concerns are invalid. I'm just saying, giving our admin the time versus at 7:45 tonight, the first time them hearing that deep of a concern. That's all.
Right, and it's not like I've had this for weeks. I have not. So I reviewed it as I could, and then we also received a whole bunch of information at 4:45 last night. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I get it. And if I'd seen this further out, I certainly would have done what you were suggesting. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
You said something about the timeline of getting this approved, Jamie. Can you elaborate what exactly?
Yeah, I talked to Teresa today about this, and she said if we get it approved tonight, they're ready to go. They're going to start the install, and we'll have these in our buses in the first couple of weeks of school. If we don't approve tonight and it's delayed, they're going to go on and work with other districts, and then we probably won't have our cameras installed until mid-year.
Can you make me understand that? Because I know that this grant, the fundings, that you don't have to have them installed until 2027. So I'm curious what you're speaking of. Are you saying
Sure.
CBS won't?
I think you're just saying to get it installed too.
I'm not done speaking, Ms. Board members. If you could wait, please. Thank you. So the installation is done by the REM company, right? They are doing that, not CBS. And so I just kind of want to understand that with CBS. And also I would like to know what the amount CBS, I thought at the agenda prep meeting, you said that was 100,000.
150,000.
But I thought you said something else here. So I want to be clear on that.
150,000. What I said was we're in line and they're ready to go to start on us immediately. But if we don't approve this, they're going to go on and work on other districts, and then ours will come later.
So it would come later then, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Ashley, you said you had a question. Go ahead.
I was just explaining that Jamie was saying to be first in line and therefore have it done on the buses to protect the kids sooner rather than later. It was not a deadline by any means. It was just saying it could be completed sooner.
And for the start of school, right? The thought was for start of school is what I was thinking.
If we were to postpone this meeting to have a contract wrote up with the bus to say they're paying X amount of dollars, that is 150, 100,000, whatever y'all say.
So I was just reading a text from Teresa. She's watching this online, and it says the contract with CBS says they will pay 150,000 towards these cameras. So there is contractual language that commits them. And also, we can't use this for anything else. The grant.
Could you tell me what you're saying when you say we can't use this for anything else? You're talking about the grant money, correct?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we had identified 3 things in our original grant, and when what we were awarded was less than what we asked for, we focused on the cameras as a single item. This wasn't just a general grant to do like bus maintenance or some other type of safety thing.
So what were the other things that you were focusing on before?
There was some lighted signage. There were 2 things that had to do with lighting. It was improved visibility, and I don't remember off the top of my head what the other thing is now.
Was it similar to the flashing light and things in Hamilton, maybe?
I don't recall.
Well, that could be a benefit, because if you look at the pricing that we're getting versus standard pricing, I think it could be that we actually can get more done for our money as well.
John, can you share the standard pricing that you speak of with the board, after the meeting? You're mentioning standard pricing, and this is a wheelhouse. If you could share that with us, that'd be great.
Yeah, I just basically looked at averages for these cameras and the fact that there's an existing.
If you could just send it, that's all I'm asking. If you could send it to us, that'd be great.
Sure.
Thanks.
The other things we'd asked for is fully illuminated stop arms located at the front and the rear of the bus, and fully illuminated school bus signs. So it was improved visibility.
So now that contract's not in front of the board right now.
No, that's what our original grant request was for.
They,
Okay, thank you.
they
Thank you for
cut it
clarifying.
because they didn't get the full amount they were asking for.
So the questions I have is, first, the contract we have in front of us expired. It's expired. So I want to make sure that the price is still good. It expired, I think, in November of 2025. So that pricing is still good. Second is the single source. If you go onto the Meta's cooperative buying, there's 2 other companies that offer equipment. And when I looked at those, it appeared that Provision, I think it's the second one, Provision is one of the companies on that on the Meta cooperative. And you can get 6 cameras, the whole thing, get new interior cameras, get 2 new exterior cameras, and you'd be about the same price as what you right here for, you get the whole package for just this exterior 2 cameras. That also being said, I had asked for the, which I don't have yet, but I did ask for it at the last minute. So just saying, for our bus, the schedule of our buses, the inventory of our buses. So if we're going to be installing this equipment on buses that are going to be retiring in 2 years, that doesn't seem like a very good thing, because then we're going to have to take them out and then put them in new buses. In fact, the Ohio Department of Education's instructions say if the bus is over a certain age, that it gets a score of 0. You shouldn't be putting cameras on them. You shouldn't be spending money on something that's going to have to be redone in a year or maybe 2 years, and some of those maybe 2 years. But also the biggest thing is the single source purchase. I did ask about that at the agenda meeting, and the fact that we would have to pass a resolution saying that we forego the single source. So I do have a problem with that too. But those are all my concerns.
I just have a statement to make that for example, you just stated some numbers as far as cost, as if it was factual, but it's not a specific for our district, our buses, or any of that, nor does it even the quantity that we need. So you cannot just say things and make them a matter of fact when it's not. Then additionally, I think everyone up here needs to pull a mirror up to the front of their faces and ask yourself why, when it comes to the safety of our kids, it's always so much pushback. Like, regardless of what rating, it's a problem. Roof leaking, it's a problem. If you don't care about our kids, please get off this board.
Have money to educate our students. That's going to be a problem when we're told we're going to have to make budget cuts. Frugal taxpayer dollars is also.
We already don't have no money. The state has bankrupted public schools. It's a fact.
That's the fact is that if you have money and you start to go teacher and staff, problem, it should be taken serious, and we also have an obligation.
We are going staff. What do you mean reducing staff? As we speak, we've been doing it for months,
and we would.
But now,
following would not have been fully changed by
code. We have a duty to follow Ohio.
Exactly, but if we wouldn't have 2 members initially tank the levy, it wouldn't be either. So let's not sit here and have this conversation as if we're all here for the kids. Herbert, totally agree with you. There's no value. I don't care if the bus is a 0 or 1. The camera, we got the money from the state, not coming out of the general fund. I know Adam is jumping up and down, doing cartwheels. Do we need to protect the kids? That's it.
It's that you can say you're here for the kids and you won't even do a work session or that strategic long-term plan for the district or goals for the district. Try to schedule that meeting. 3 years we do that. You're here for the kids, but you can't do that. That's one of the most important things. Of course I'm here for the kids. I have a family that attends the school.
I have children that attend
school.
Like,
yeah.
So then I guess at this point, my only question to you, Mr. Groove, then with the information that has been now shared with you, what will be the next course of action? At this point, we're gonna pretty much, what does that mean for the start of school and us having cameras if this does not pass? Just so I understand.
If it, so let me, some information, and I'm sorry I'm doing this right now in the meeting, but I'm trying to find out information.
No, if we
I've
need to
been-
do a recess,
been-
that's fine too.
I've
I'd
been
rather for
texting
you-
with Teresa,
Yes,
and
sir.
I asked if REM is the company that all the other equipment and the downloading software that we use when our buses come on the lot to download software. She said, yes, they're the company, plus they service us. I don't know the answer to the single source question, so I can't answer that for the board tonight.
Yes, sir.
What I know is if this had been approved tonight, the installation would start soon. We'd been a couple weeks. If it doesn't, we'll have them installed, but it's probably gonna be more like middle of the year because we lose our place in line.
Well, plus if we don't right now, we go out for bid, and could take also.
Could you say that again, please?
I said, go out for right. And there's a process for bidding too, which could push this down the road if we need to. And if we need to legally, that's fine. But I mean, bidding just takes 30 days.
Right, and to the point that Dion was making, could you help with the maybe the purchasing cooperatives, the consortiums?
Would you like to? I can run it.
Well, I think Miss
I
Herbert.
used to run the purchasing portion.
Right, but what was being said was, hey, almost like you can't count on the numbers or those numbers aren't a bid. And I put my numbers in the consortium, I know how it works. So basically, you are committing that this is your price for a slide projector, or projector, video camera, secure system, etc. Right?
Yes, I don't know how it was specifically bid. I don't know if that's installed price. I don't know if did Ms. Walsh check if it's the same model, if it's the same level of camera strength. Is it to do all the parts of P? I mean, it's difficult to know if we're comparing apples to apples based on the.
And that's what Ms. Herbert was saying. She wasn't saying that the information in the Meta Solutions Quarter thing is wrong. Is that are we looking at the exact same thing that we are requesting to line up with what we already have? And that's, I think she was saying, Mr. Kirshner.
Right. And I mean, I here understand what you're saying, and it's hurtful to sit up here and hear that, oh, we don't care about students, or just here to stir up problems. I'll tell you what, I have watched preventing a bidding at all different levels, and I am seeing how I don't understand whether you feel as great as you feel about adding safety equipment, and I want the flying light, I want this, I want all that, but it's just like the vault. Okay, there's a system that we are paying 10 times as much as it's worth compared to the product that we're under, my opinion. And it's when people look and see, because you don't do this, don't do it. I don't know how any of us now sign on and say this is a single source product. I at the town, they pull that, the blood and all that, but I also that give the us go out. I see the same source by way of the same law and take one and not the other. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm certainly not trying to hold up safety, and I certainly am not here for some nefarious reasons. It's just that is why I'm bringing up what I'm bringing up.
May I ask a question? You said that you've seen this happen where it's been circumvented or avoided. Are you talking about other organizations? Or are you talking about us?
I'm talking about splitting of contracts. I'm talking about urgent necessities. I'm talking about this particular situation where I think projects should go out to bid and we avoid it. I'm talking about going over to 4,500 and seeing plans laid out that we haven't approved. Yeah, I've seen problems where we can do better. I think this might be might be one of them. And I believe we're obligated under the law to bid when we're supposed to bid. And I think this is one of those situations where we should have, or at least invited the major competitors in to give us an evaluation and say that, yes, we can definitely tie into your umbilical cords. We can switch the pins. We can wire over. These are standard AHN cameras, etc. And make sure we're getting the most for our money, because as you stated, there are the things we wanted, and we don't even know sitting here if we can't have those for the money that's on the table. And I'm not looking to start any fights here. I'm just sharing my experience.
Well, that was a pretty wide open statement, and I wanted to clarify, because if you think we're doing something fraudulent, then it should be reported to the state auditor.
Okay.
So I guess going forward, so we're not in this situation again, if I could ask Mr. Treasurer, Mr. Superintendent at this point, going forward, to pull or provide us at least with the specifics, so we can all then go into the meta solutions and look at and make sure we're looking at the apples, so that way when we have the conversation, it doesn't seem speculatory and we're not saying that you did or did not. And then that way all board members have that information. I just think it would be better for discussion. If that's more work, I'm sorry, but I just don't want us to be in this situation again where we've got some board members saying, hey, this is this, but I don't even know exactly what we have. And I know that's the day-to-day of what the great work that Miss Teresa does and her team. But if we could just have that when we're voting on these things, I would personally appreciate it. I'm not sure if my colleagues would as well.
And I guess I'll say, please understand, the last thing I would want to do is do something that we shouldn't do. I thought this was a slam dunk. We applied for a grant. We got the grant. We're adding safety stuff for our kids. CBS is matching the money. So, we'll check on that to make sure everything's right. And it delays things a little bit. It delays things.
Are we able to get a copy of the contract for the money being put forth that we are not covering, as well as consult legal to see if we have to do a resolution to deem this a sole system? There are different clauses out there that might make it appropriate, given the fact that Teresa stated this bus system was installed on our buses originally. So it might be one of those that they maintain it, they have access to it, they have certain contracts or whatever it may be that makes it so that is how we are able to bypass the bidding piece of it. I think we just need clarification from legal before we move forward with that, and possibly a resolution deeming that as well.
And to Ms. Zimmer's point, if we could do that and get that ready Friday, since we're already here.
That's what I was just going to suggest. If we're having a special meeting, we could try and get it done before Friday and then revisit it if that's doable.
Just for awareness level,
that would be awesome, yes.
We have all day professional development for the entire district, Wednesday and Thursday. I don't know how late we'll go tonight, but I mean, we'll do our very best.
At least we know if it's there, then it's there. It got done. If not, it's not that we didn't try. And thank you all for your hard work, and Ms. Teresa for even texting this evening. Listening.
Vote the way first, sit down a second, but if we want to amend that to postpone it or something, right? We just need to do that.
Yeah.
I'll do a motion to postpone until we consult with legal and get a copy of that contract.
Second. And the first was me and second was Deanna on this item. Okay, I thought you said John. Thank you.
So I asked you first, Latoya second, to postpone until we consult with legal. Okay.
Till we postpone, till we consult with people. I think we need a hard deadline on that. No, the next meeting.
You can't really do a hard deadline because it might be a downward spiral. Legal might say that in order to bypass the competitive bidding, you have to do resolution A in order to get to piece B. So it could be a longer process than just snapping your fingers, depending on what the outcome is. So I would prefer not to do a deadline depending on what the following steps are, because we don't know what they might be.
And honestly, if you're crossing those T's and dotting those I's, legal is great, but I think we probably ought to inquire with the competitors to ensure that we don't create any liability there, because that is where the liability can lie if you do a sole provider and they feel that you violated their rights to bid.
When we consult an attorney, they go to school to know the law, to give legal advice to us. We pay them for that. We need to trust they're doing their jobs. If they are not, then they should not be working for our district. We need to realize that we are adults and we need to be respectful, especially when we're consulting with people that are working for our district, and realize that they're doing their due diligence for us. So if an attorney tells us that it is okay to do X, Y, or Z, we should listen to them and do what we think is best and move forward. I don't think we need to say that they might give us bad legal advice. It is possible, but we also need to watch how we communicate, because sometimes we come across in a manner that might make people not want to do business with us, which will be detrimental to the district as we move forward.
I understand. What I was speaking to was the technology of the issue, and I wouldn't expect a lawyer to be at all familiar with the technology of the issue.
The lawyer will be for the sole source part and to ensure we don't breach anything with the urgent necessity and all those things based off the competitive bidding document that's on OSBA, all of those things. So that's what the lawyer will be for, not to get into the technical weeds of equipment.
I want to make sure I'm following you, Mrs. Deldenberger. What I was saying is, without understanding how two of the major competitors, for instance, could come in and tie into the existing wiring and interface with the existing cameras, it's going to be very difficult to determine sole source. That's what I was getting at. The idea of sole source can sound great, and you can say, well, they provide this and they already have the DVRs and we're already doing this, but it may sound great, but technically it could also not be true. So that's what I was getting at, is the reality, because I do this for a living. The reality is there are proprietary cameras, and then there are audio video people who absolutely know how to go into the proprietary cameras, repin them, use different software, and assign them to their new systems without replacing all the cameras. And that's something I don't think lives in the realm of the legal profession. That's all I was getting to. Wasn't true.
So I believe, if I am not mistaken, if we legal tailored solution to the source, for to go past that promise. So what I understand, correct if I'm wrong, is prefer to, regardless if it's deemed not illegal, you want to outsource and do multiple bids.
Answer your question for competitive bidding requirements are, it's a 2/3 of the board vote.
I just don't wanna go through doing all actions for it to fail if we don't have majority. Let's see. This makes sense. No, so if we're not gonna, we might just do bids. Just try to think, speak out. People
Like to, in the, it would be this for us to get competitive. So we, that what we're investing for the dollar and somewhere else from the meta and there's they not exactly the same team, exactly the same, but do the same purpose on the service. We find that one we have money to funds for our students so that they get better services. I didn't in your head now. Well,
I also amend my motion, the stance of the people not board members. So I to amend this motion to resolve and give before we get back to possible.
do you have a
I ended my instead of solving, I to postpone this and
And
to save legal fees and repeating our same.
table might be better option?
I did my motion. Multiple bits.
Okay.
I am not changing my motion. That is the motion on the table. Do I have a second?
second.
So your motion is to get competitive bidding.
Yes.
All right. Is there a first and second on? what-
Ashley first, Latoya second.
Okay. Any questions or concerns? Do a roll call, please.
Oh, Mr. Krishna,
Aye.
Mrs. Walsh,
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert,
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
And Mrs. Delver.
Aye.
Cool. Okay.
I do have one more question though,
Okay.
Mr. Grove. What's our deadline to spend these funds? Or Mr. Treasurer, I'm sorry, either one of you.
I believe we have until 2027.
December or end of school year, like, is it school year?
Usually it's June 30, 2027.
June 30th, okay, thank you.
All right, on to, well, we're not doing 5, and so we're on to number 6, approve the guarantee. I'll let you do that, Jim.
Superintendent recommends the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the attached grantee approval of the governor's deed.
Second,
So to tell what is happening here, because obviously we are on these properties. So what's
So I think there's a clarification that has been shared different. We look at the property, I believe it was ours, sometimes it was department. This who once and for all that they're giving this to us. So this is nothing new that we haven't already treated and assumed was our property, but we this, assuming we accept this.
anyone else have any questions?
Mrs. Delver.
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
Ms. Herbert.
Aye.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Krishna.
so So Nate, for the record, there's for everything that just happened, that entire vote was not one single person, nothing was on the screen at all. So this closed captioning is very, very difficult. It just picked up with what I started saying and completely left out the entire action, which not only makes it hard for me, but it also makes it difficult for Adam and the people trying to make the minutes when this is over, because the audio can sometimes be very difficult to hear. And I have my hearing aid in, I can hear every piece of paper rustling, and I still can't tell what is being said up here sometimes. So.
Nate, since we have our email, do we have the chat function in there? Each one of us as an individual board member.
Yeah.
Would it be beneficial for both of you if the person speaking types it out, so then you know who's speaking it and it's dictated directly in front of you, so you don't have to worry about the closed caption, so we don't have to keep revisiting it until it's fixed?
I honestly think that there might be a problem with John's computer meeting, because it shows up fine here and it shows up fine for me.
I
And
was trying to find a resolution.
I don't see it clearing out like he's describing.
Are you saying we have that capability?
We could turn that functionality on.
Are you telling me this whole time we've had that functionality and we haven't been using it? Is that what I'm being told?
What the functionality she's describing is the same as using email.
Okay, so what are you seeing, Nate? That so are you saying that you could scroll back up right now through the closed caption here, and you can see how we just voted?
I feel it's very important to address the closed captioning, but I don't believe the time is now. We could come in during a time when we don't have people here witnessing it. We could do it in the afternoon. We could do it during the day to try and address it, but I don't think the appropriate time is now. I think we should do that another time when we don't have people here.
I agree. I'm bringing it up because we have active at the DC level complaints about this particular thing. I'm having trouble following, and I just wanted that noted because this is 2.5 years in now for me and way in for Kathy. So I'm just noting it and without not expecting that Nate can fix it now, but 2.5 years in, we should certainly be trying something different.
So what are we on now? I appreciate your concerns. Certainly, Mr. Kirshner, I've been dealing with it for a long time. I just said forward. So which one were we on? Happy. Which one were we on? Seven. Policy.
So this is a discussion item. This was a policy that we approved, and when we sent it to board docs for uploading, actually, did this come from OSBA, Adam? This was a recommended change from OSBA. Correct. The green is an add. Obviously, the red strike through is removed. This was already approved, but even though these are relatively small changes, we just didn't want to go ahead without at least running it past the board.
Right. So it's just a couple greens and then a couple reds. So it's one page.
But we would like to follow OSBA's recommended changes, but we thought it was appropriate to at least have this discussion.
So I move that we forego the first reading and go straight to voting on this item as to approve this
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
Any questions or concerns?
And that was first Kathy. John.
Yes.
Okay.
Call for it.
Mrs. Dyer.
Aye.
Zimmer. Mr. Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr.
Aye.
Superintendent of Madison Board of Education, the attached special education tracks.
I so move.
Second.
One question about the Bear Academy agreement. We have a student withdraw during the year. Is the district responsible for the entire life or just for the period that's used?
Kathy, which one was that? Which contract?
That one
Bonner-
is
Bonner-
for the Bonner,
Bonner.
Bonner Academy.
If a student withdraws, then we send that information over. We would no longer pay. That school district would have to determine whether or not they were going to adopt that placement as the appropriate placement, and they would either pick up that contract or not.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Mrs. Zetterberg. Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
Ms. Herbert.
Aye.
Ms. Walsh.
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Okay. Superintendent recommends the Groveport Madison Schools Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as outlined in the attachment.
So moved.
Second.
This is basically to officially update our calendar from the previous MOU change. Oh, and there was a correction. On March 25th, there was a 2-hour delay that was inadvertently left off the last version. So those are the two changes.
Any questions or concerns? Let's go.
Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
Second first. Mrs. Walsh.
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert.
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer.
Aye.
And Ms. Zetterberg.
Aye.
The superintendent recommends Groveport Madison Schools approve the 2026-2020 handbook as outlined in the attachment.
So moved.
Second.
The very little update here, I don't think there's anything significant change other than names and yeah, so nothing other than that.
I didn't get this. I don't think any of us did until like almost 5 o'clock yesterday. So not a lot of time to review. But my question is, if we see things that are unnecessarily vague or don't have, in our opinion, maybe or good due process, consistency. Maybe there's just everything left up to discretion. I saw things in there that described how SRO officers, what their job was, but no mention of our in-house security and how searches are handled and things like. There's a lot of ambiguity and we've had problems in the past prior to this administration with the hats and the head covering and then that causing some civil rights complaints that cost the district quite a bit. So when we see things like that, for instance, the head covering, and I see that we don't have any accommodation for perhaps religious or medical, if you have a student that might want a head covering due to hair loss and cancer. What do we do to fine tune this thing over and how can we make it better?
I think we handle it one. I think we have many different ways, but one we could is ask for feedback from board members that we either review on the short term and make an amendment to it, or we could keep changes as a working copy throughout the course of the year and incorporate them into, I mean, you know, some of the things are simple changes, that's one thing, and some of the things would require us to form committees or check with legal or to make sure that it's compliant. You know, maybe that's something that's more of a working document that we make sure gets put into it either later this year or into the new handbook. Just, I mean, and it could be any variation of that. I was just a thought.
Okay, so maybe under new business at this board meeting, I can point out things that I saw that maybe we need to done a little better to protect the students and staff, etc.
That would be fine.
Thank you.
If it's suggestions, would it be better to just have a red line version that we can make multiple and then edit throughout versus having a discussion multiple times? And then we could have a first read and second read to fine tune it. Would that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I don't think we will have as much as this should be a living document year from year. I don't think we want to make several changes over the course of the year. I think if we're going to make changes this year, we should do it a single time, do a first and second and go on. That doesn't mean we couldn't continue to work on other items, but
and actually, I think it's a good point. In the past, that's how we've received these, is with red lines through them. I didn't really have a chance to go through it very thoroughly, but I did go through the last year and noticed that, excuse me, when we were going through the SROs, that the SRO information is required by our SRO contract to be in the handbook, and it's not in there. So that's one thing I did notice. I also, doing a quick review of it this afternoon, is that the medical section does not reflect the revised medication policy. So I have a little sheet here. I'm just going to give it to you because they're the questions I'd had. And are we being asked to approve this as is tonight?
I'm sorry, I was asking a question about editing. Could you say that again?
I said there also, the medical section doesn't reflect the revised medication policy. So my question is, are we being asked to approve this tonight, or are we just looking at this as a discussion in a draft?
I think we are being asked, I am asking to have this approved tonight. We can make revision to it, but I think like the code of conduct and discipline expectations and some of those things I think need to be approved, but you know, we
So
start.
if we approve it and it's printed as is, that means it will have to be reprinted. Is that what you're saying?
No, we only print a handful of copies. It's distributed electronically. And I did want to share what I was asking Tom a minute ago. If there's a way for us to share the document with all the board members as a shared document and some way to track comments and notes and feedback so we could have everybody could kind of see it as we're going along the way.
And so what I was going to suggest, because I think if you really think about what we're talking about, this is a living document of our district. It's not board policy, but it's close. So I would suggest that we set a date, whether it's September, whether it's October, and the board put this on the agenda and the board come forward with the red lines and present them. Otherwise, we're doing round robin communication and changing the document one person at a time with a spoken note model. And I don't think we can do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's a good suggestion.
Yeah, I guess I agree with what John said. If we could just have a window of a review period and then actual, maybe at a board meeting, discussions of changes proposed, then a reissuing date so that it only happens during set times, it's not ongoing. That's what we've done at places that I've worked at previously. So.
Yeah, we can definitely can and should do that. I'm gonna leave it at that. I was gonna make an excuse, but I'm not gonna make an excuse.
Yeah.
We just set that for the October first.
And for the
How about
record,
the first meeting in October? We put that on the agenda. That gives the board more than a month to review. we show up with our red lines, we set aside a little bit of time, present that to you in open meetings, all kosher with the Open Meetings Act, and then you could come back to us with what, because you're revised.
All right, thank you.
But for the record, it's a discussion, right? Not just because I don't like something, do I expect it to be changed? It would be more of a flag and then maybe a dialogue on why it exists how it does, or an agreement that yes, this should be changed or improved in this type of way. So
Right,
it's
apply
not
for
it's not-
review to us to bring a solution back.
Yes.
May I ask a question? Previously, was this reviewed by staff or by the board? Like the redlining, I get that we can make suggestions to change things, but I feel our staff knows better. We feel they're the ones inside the school versus us as outsiders. So would it be actually beneficial for us to make a bunch of changes when we don't know firsthand? I could be totally wrong. I don't know.
No, that's a good point.
I don't know.
I think when we get down to it, I think some of it's going to be so obvious that we're all probably going to be nodding our heads. To be honest, there's some things in there that are, like Kathy said, the contract that we signed with the SRO have language in there that says, hey, you're going to put this in the student manual. It's not there. There's some real simple things with dress codes and gangs, and where we're just not defining anything, and it leaves it up totally to every individual principal's discretion or whatever to just determine if it's a color, if it's this or it's that. I think when we have the discussion, I believe there's going to be I think it's going to be a lot of head nodding where it's pretty simple stuff. I don't think we're getting into any deep weeds.
When we have the discussion, can we have it at a work session? Because I feel it's going to be a long discussion and not a quick discussion, just knowing how we like to discuss stuff in very much so detail.
Is that a question for me, board?
Board. Just think it would be better as a work session instead of hearing.
Oh, I'm really sorry. It's not coming up at all.
I think it would be beneficial to have the discussion in a work session versus a formal meeting such as this.
I love that idea. I think that's a great idea as well.
So Jane, this is something that you have to have approved because of some statute by a certain date.
Yeah, when students enroll, they sign that they have read and are agreeing to policies and procedures in the handbook. But we really do need this approved.
Is it required that it be a printed copy? Can you be asking for it online and pick out the attached or put attached as presented online or something like that effect?
Yeah, we don't print hard copies to distribute to all students anymore. Most of it is maybe I don't understand your question, but we distribute this electronically.
So we'll just be approving the draft because that's what's attached.
Oh.
It says right here, a draft.
I know what you're asking. You're saying the notice will be we're approving this submitted right now, but we're going to continue to make changes to it.
I'd like to do a motion to approve the student handbook attached as it with a session scheduled in October to discuss changes and any possible revision at that time. So this is able to go out to students. We are to still allow us to have a discussion to make any modifications or change as we deem.
So we're going to, the motion is to hold a session on October 1st.
So we're making them to this group. So maybe that motion of
Yeah, new motion.
The motion is to approve student handbook as presented. Have it for session complete before October 30. discuss areas or possible amendments that seem necessary or fit.
Is it possible to make an amendment to your amendment? Here too. We already have student voice committee also solicit feedback.
That no, it's additional.
I amend my
So
motion
clear.
to approve the student handbook as presented tonight with a work session scheduled and completed by October 31st, as well as student voice committees and parent advisory committees prior to that, to have all input brought to the table and
Not-
discussed.
And not to throw a wrench, but just for clarity, that the student voice
Is elementary,
would be prior to our 31st work
Yes.
session. Just want to make sure it's clear for the consumer
correct, so we have their feedback to present to the board.
during the work session. Thank you, ma'am.
Sorry, did that amended motion get seconded?
She amended her motion, so do we need to re-second her? Second.
Okay, Ashley first, and then Latoya second.
Thank you.
Adam, could you please read that back slowly for me?
Yes, so I'm gonna start off with the first thing. The superintendent recommends Groveport Madison's approve the attached 26-27 student handbook, and then an amendment, first by Ashley, second by Latoya, to hold a work session by October 30th, 2026 to discuss changes and amendments, and also have a parent and voice committee prior to October 31st, 2026 to have feedback. And then I was not talking because and then from them.
And the student voice committee.
Yeah, parent and voice committee. Yeah. Is that right? That's not good?
No, this is talking about Sacramento and
The motion is to approve the student handbook as presented. Have a student voice committee meeting, meaning all of them, the elementary, middle school, high school. A parent voice committee prior to having the board work session to discuss any possible revisions, which will be done before the end of October.
Correct.
Did that come through?
it seems to me like it should be two separate motions, but we'll go ahead with this. I know, it's just so, it's like, the way it's coming up on the closed caption is not very clear. That's all. That's why I was saying,
I can-
breaking it up,
I
but
can-
that's okay. Nope, that's fine. I'm good. Are you done? Any questions, John? Anybody else, any questions?
All right.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Otterberger,
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer,
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert,
Aye.
Ms. Walsh,
Aye.
and Mr. Kirschner.
Aye.
On to the motion passes, and we're on to the treasurer's agenda.
Yes.
Smart.
Is it? All right. The treasurer recommends the Board of Education approve the 4-year forecast.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Toy and then Ashley. Nate's bringing up right now. So obviously you guys can all see this. Now I have it in Excel also, and I sent to you guys because the state requires a 4-year forecast, but most treasurers still also include a 5-year forecast because you can really see the cash flow burn we have as the years progress. Now the good news is last year we finished a little bit better than I thought, which is great. We got in a little bit more revenue than I thought, which is a good thing, and our expenses were a little bit less than I thought, which is a good thing. I still was about 1% for the year, which I'll take that any day of the week. But going into fiscal year 27, as you can see, we have expenses over revenues of about 2.4 million. And the problem is it quickly climbs. Fiscal year 28, almost 7 million. Fiscal year 29, 11 and a half. And as you see, and out in 2031, it's over $21 million. So the need for reductions is obviously evident. And I want to explain, remember how we're here. Last October, state decided to last year and this year, which totaled 9 million. And then the state at that time was going to reduce my state formula by $1 million, but actually they decided to reduce my state formula by 1.6 million. For nothing we're doing wrong, it's just the state formula. It's about 1.58 million to be exact. That we're going to get less this year than we did last year. And I also want to point out, because I know property tax is such a big thing. If you look at what we got in 25 from real estate, the 1.01 was 41.2 million. In fiscal year 26, we only got 41.3 million. Get people properties go, and I'll explain this over and over, but if somebody's goes up, other people's goes down. And that is evident of it right there. So I get it, private taxes going up, but also others goes down, because if not, we would be sending the 45% increase, which we're not. And for this year, my estimate is 41.5. Next year, 41.9. So those are cold hard numbers in 25 and 26 and 27. If they don't make any more changes, which they could do in January or February, again, I'm expecting a really small increase, as you can see. And as you can see in 1.07 total revenues, we are actually going to be less revenues this year than was last year due to the decrease of state foundation of $1.6 million. There's just no getting around it. So again, as I come to you guys and need this approved, but as I come to you guys, I know last June you guys approved, like me and Jamie, to start talking to the unions about reductions and stuff. So I think we're going to reach out to them here relatively soon, because I don't want to wait. It's not fair to anybody to wait. And again, as you can see by numbers, we're not going to get a lottery windfall either. We did make some reductions through attrition this year. We cut 2 admin people already this year from last year going into this year. And we did make some other through attrition as we could. So that was good. We cut budgets a little bit, not a whole lot. Did some other little things to try to save money as we could of the general fund. But I can't paint a rosy picture. I'm sorry. And then also for expenses, my estimates for expenses for increases is just the step index. So let know that it's just a step for fiscal year 28, 29, and 31. Obviously, as you can see why. And then my other increases are 10% for insurance. My first 2 years here, we had 8%. Last year we had a 20. So I'm hoping we get back to the 8%. But 10% every year for insurance increases, and then 6% for purchase services every year, and then 3% for supplies and capital outlay. So that's kind of where we're at. So not a rosy outlook. So I apologize for that. Any questions? Okay, no questions. I need approval. Mrs. Dottleberger?
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Ms. Walsh?
Aye.
And Mr. Kirschner?
Aye.
Next one is a good thing. Treasurer recommends Groveport Madison School Board of Education approve the attached donation from Chartwells, $17,500.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Kirschner?
Aye.
Mrs. Walsh?
Aye.
Mrs. Herbert?
Aye.
Ms. Zimmer?
Aye.
And Mrs. Dottleberger?
Aye.
And I would like to thank Simon Cartwell for the generous donation.
Yes.
All right, we're on to item I, executive session. It is recommended that the Groveport Madison School Board of Education enter executive session to consider the investigation of charges or complaints against a district employee or official pursuant to ORC 12122 G1.
So moved.
First John,
Second.
second Ashley. Okay.
And if we could do a 5-minute recess between, that would be awesome.
You can just do that. You don't need a motion. Okay, Mrs. Dotterberger?
No.
Mrs. Zimmer?
Which one are we voting on right now?
Well, the 5 minute recess, I think you guys need to take that, right? There doesn't need to be a motion for that. Right?
What was that? I'm
The
sorry.
5 minute recess, you guys can just take 5 minutes before you get in there, right?
What John said?
Yeah.
No.
We don't need a motion for that, right? Okay. So the motion is to go into executive session. Okay. Mrs. Dotterberger?
No.
Ms. Zimmer?
Do we know anything about what's being discussed in executive?
Brendan, the superintendent scheduled something with Brendan. He's going to be meeting us in executive session.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah, just today a situation came up, but that was not the reason why the original executive session was scheduled.
Ms. Zimmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Herbert?
No.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
And Mr. Kirschner?
Yes.
It's 8:46 p.m.